everybody, it's the Warhipster here, coming at you with our final part of Warhammer Quest Darkwater. Yes, we've saved the cutest till last. So, for this video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be painting the Mire Kelpies, and we're going to be painting up these little tokens and treasures as well. So, massive thank you to Games Workshop, as always, for sending me this box. I've been having an absolute blast painting this, and well, here we are. This is the final painting video on Warhammer Quest Darkwater for all of you to enjoy. So, the Mire Kelpies have been primed in Grey Seer, and the treasures have been primed in Wraithbone, which has been a bit of a theme for this entire set. And what we're going to do is we're going to work on the Mire Kelpies, and then we're going to do all the treasure. And this is going to be really quick, so hold on to your hats, and we'll be right back. So the first colour we're going to use on our Mire Kelpies is Gryph-Charger Grey. And we're going to start applying this over top of all of our sort of dripping sludge water. With that Gryph-Charger Grey applied, we then take some Krieg Camo, and we're going to apply this over top of all of these little leaves. With that Krieg Camo all applied, we're then going to take some Skeleton Horde, and we're going to apply this over top of the bones. So with that all done, we're now going to take three colours. Poxwalker, which is a shade, Striking Scorpion Green, and Black Templar, which are both contrast paints. And what we're going to do is we're going to apply all three of these at the same time over the top of our Mire Kelpies. So we're going to start with the Poxwalker. And we're going to apply this over top of basically all of the water, the sort of swampy gunge, like this. And don't worry too much if you get this on the leaves as well. Adds a little bit of extra shading to them. It's not the end of the world. So we get this on just like this, and we do want to get this over the top of the entirety of the model before we do the other two colours. Flip it over. Still with our Poxwalker. Just being careful not to accidentally apply too much. It'll get a little bit out of control if we blob too much of this on there at once. There we go. So, with that Poxwalker all applied, just want to make sure we got in there. What we're then going to do is wash the brush, and then grab a little bit of Striking Scorpion Green. And just in little areas, we're just going to add this now. So we're going to add some like this around the neck. And we're going to add some just down here, there like that. We're going to add a little bit of Striking Scorpion Green around there. And we'll also add some coming over the back like that. We'll add a little bit in here. And we'll add a little bit just around the sort of main concourse area. Like so. Then we're going to wash the brush once more. Grab a little bit of Black Templar. And then just in the deepest areas, we're going to add the Black Templar. So we're going to add that in here. Like that. And come in here as well. Add some up the foot. Like that. And on the other side. A little bit more under there. And then we're going to wash the brush. And then we're just going to move around the paint if there's any kind of really harsh transition lines. Just like that, with a clean brush. Perfect. So with that all done, we should have some Mire Kelpies that look thusly. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add 3 highlights. The first of which is going to be some thinned down Krieg Khaki. And we're going to use this to highlight the leaves. With that Krieg Khaki all applied, we then take some thinned down Deepkin Flesh. And we're going to use this to highlight all the drips in the water. And so with that all done, we're then going to take some thinned down Screaming Skull. I'm going to use this to highlight the bone. So all of our Mire Kelpies are now finished. Here they are. And, well, they look suitably cool. And, well, we're going to pop them to one side. And now we're going to move on to the treasures. Now, we're going to actually divide these into 2 as well. Because we've got these 2, which are fairly, well, they're quite different from one another. The sort of fundamental things about painting them will be the same. Because, you know, it's similar sort of colour schemes. But they are just fundamentally different from one another. But these 2, just here, are identical. So what we're going to do is we're going to do these 2 and then we'll do the other 2. So it's a 3-parter, hey, rather than a 2-parter. Should have planned that further. So what we're going to do is, because they are exactly the same, is we're going to just change the color scheme just a little bit. So what we're going to do is, for one of them, is we're going to take 2 colors, Guilliman Flesh and Cygor Brown. So we're going to do this on this one, just here. Not that it matters. So we're going to start with some Guilliman Flesh. And we're going to apply this over the top of the entirety of the model, excluding the skull. Just like this sort of thing. If we do get some of this on the skull, it's not actually the end of the world, because we can always tidy it back up with some further wraithbonage. But what we're going to do is we're going to wash the brush, get rid of the water, and then we're going to grab a little bit of Cygor Brown, and just towards the sort of top up here, what we're going to do is just going to apply the Cygor Brown like so over the top of these tentacles, like that, until around about halfway down the model, like so. Then we're going to wash the brush Get rid of the water once again. And then just go back to some Guilliman Flesh. And use this to just smooth out the transition. Like that. And we're just going to do it again on the other side. So with that done for this one, the only change that we make here is we add an additional colour to this one, which is going to be some Gutrippa Flesh. So we're going to start with the Gutrippa Flesh. And we're going to apply this all the way over the top of the base. Now, rather than go all over the top here, we're not going to do that. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to apply the Gutrippa Flesh up to around about there. Then wash the brush. Grab the Guilliman Flesh. Apply this. Overlapping. Just a little bit. We can bring this all the way up now. It'll interact quite nicely with the Cygor Brown, which we then wash our brush and grab the Cygor Brown for. And we're going to use this mostly just over the sort of tentacly bits. Just like that. So with that all done to both of them, there is of course one large thing that we haven't done yet for the base coats, which is to take some skeleton Horde, and we're going to apply this over top of the skull. So with that all done to both of these doodads, what we're going to do next is we're going to shade them. I'm going to use some Reikland Fleshshade to do this. And we're just going to apply this over the top of the entire thing, excluding the skull. I'm going to try and not kind of drown the green on this one. We don't really need a whole lot of the Reikland Fleshshade. As you can see, it just dirties it up in quite a satisfying way. So with that Reikland Fleshshade applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to highlight them, and once again we have 3 highlights to apply. So the first one, because as you can see it's still drying on the Reikland Fleshshade front at the moment, the first one we're going to do is some thinned down Screaming Skull. I'm going to use this to highlight the skulls. So with that Screaming Skull all applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Krieg Khaki once again. I'm going to use this to highlight the green parts of this one. And so with that all done, we're then going to take some thinned down Flayed One Flesh. I'm going to use this to highlight the rest of it. So that's 2 little treasures down. So we'll move on to the other 2. Now, the colour palette is the same, but the colour placement is different. So what we're going to do is on this one is we're going to start with some Guilliman Flesh. And we're going to apply this over the top of the bottom lip. It's really simple, this part. We're going to apply this over the bottom lip and the under eyelid. So we're going to go here with the Guilliman Flesh, like so. And we'll do a little bit over the top of that part of the eyelid as well. There we go. And then, as promised, the bottom lip. And we're also just going to overlap onto the teeth as well. There we go. There isn't anything on the back there. So it's just those bits for this one. For the other one, what we're going to do is we're going to apply this over the top of the entirety of this sort of eye, and consequently the eyelid as well. We're going to apply this like so. There we go. And we're also going to apply this over the top of the kind of fleshy part of the large tentacle. So with that Guilliman Flesh applied, we're then going to take some Gutrippa Flesh. And we're going to apply this over top of, well, all of the remaining sort of blobby bits. And we're just going to, on this guy, overlap that top eyelid as well. On this guy, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Krieg Camo. And over the top of these little tentacly bits, we're going to apply this Krieg Camo. Just like this sort of thing. And still sticking with Krieg Camo on this guy, we're going to apply this over the top of the sort of, well, it kind of looks like a soily bit. Sticking over here, we're going to take some Cygor Brown, and we're going to apply this over the top of these sort of mushrooms. Flipping over to our other guy, we're going to take some Gryph-Charger Grey. We're going to apply this over top of that filmy eye. And for this guy, we're going to take some Gryph-Hound Orange. I'm going to apply this over his eye. And then next up, we're going to take some Black Templar. I'm going to apply this over top of these sort of rocks on the back of this guy. Spending a lot of time on this guy because he's got a lot more going on. And what we're going to do next is we're going to take some Wyldwood and we're going to apply this over top of the axe handle. And so with that all done, we're then going to take some Skeleton Horde. And we're going to apply this over top of all of our remaining non-metallic areas on this guy. And there aren't any on the other guy. And so with that all done, to demonstrate on this guy, because he hasn't been on the camera for a little while, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Mortarion Grime. And we're going to apply this over basically the entirety of what we've done. And this is just to kind of lock in some of the flavour, add a slight yellow pallor to everything. And to kind of make it look a little bit wet. So with that all done, we're now going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors. And we're going to apply this over top of the two blades. So this is going to be the axe head and the sword. We applied that Iron Warriors over the top of the sword handle as well, because what we're going to do now is to apply some Retributor Armour over the top of the crossguard and over the top of the pommel. It just breaks it up a little bit. So with that all done, we're still waiting for the metallics to dry. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some Black Templar. I'm going to use this to add a little dot just at this sort of angle over this guy's eye to give it a pupil. Like that. On the subject of eyes, with this one what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Corax White. I'm going to use this to add like a sort of shaky line slash blocking in around the middle of the eye. So we're going to start just over here. I'm going to do lots and lots of little brush strokes. Like that. going around the outside, leaving just a little bit of that Gryph-Charger Grey in the middle, like that. So with that all done, we are now going to shade the metallics, and what we're going to do is we're going to use two colours. We're going to use Agrax Earthshade and Gore-Grunta Fur. I'm going to start with the Agrax Earthshade. We're going to apply this over top of the whole thing, just like this sort of thing. There we go. Then what we're going to do is wash the brush, get rid of the water, and then just grab a little bit of Gore-Grunta Fur. I'm going to use this to add some little rust spots by just stippling it in, kind of roughly. Just like that. So with that all done, these two treasures are now what I would call a Warhipster battle ready. So it's time to take them to the next level and add those highlights. Now, first of these is going to be some thinned down Screaming Skull. And we're going to use this to pick out the little teeth on this guy and the skull and the grasses on the other guy. So with that all done, we also used the Screaming Skull to highlight the eyeball on this guy, so just around the outside of that little black pupil that we put in. And what we're going to do next is we're going to take some thinned down Flayed One Flesh. I'm going to use this to highlight the fleshy parts that we did with Guilliman Flesh. And so with that all done, we're now going to take some thinned down Krieg Khaki. We're going to use this to highlight the darker green areas. So with that all done, we're now going to take some thinned down Deepkin Flesh. I'm going to use this to highlight all of the brightest green on our model. There's two of them. So we're going to use this like so. Highlight these awful little tentacles, like that sort of thing. However, one thing we're also going to do here with the Deepkin Flesh is we're going to use this to highlight the Black Templar on these rocks. Just like that sort of thing. And so with that all done, to finish off both of these treasures, we're going to take some thinned down Ironbreaker. I'm going to use this to highlight both metallics. So we're going to use this to highlight the gold and the silver. Just like that sort of thing. And there we have it. Thus concludes the Darkwater painting coverage. Yes, all 16 videos are now available for you to view, including now, of course, these Mire Kelpies, who are really, really quick and really simple to do, which is kind of why we left them to the last minute. The treasures are a little bit more involved, but Mire Kelpies can be done in, well, less than about half an hour, which is always quite a relief, really, when it comes to the Griblies. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel, and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so by heading to patreon.com/warhipster, just like all of these wonderful, amazing people have done. And alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button below, exactly like these fabulous folks have done, scrolling up on the screen before you.
There are so many of you out there that it really takes my breath away, and I cannot thank you enough for everything you do, as without you I wouldn't be able to keep making these Contrast Plus videos. And if you really like this video and you want to send me a little thanks, just click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.